Often in our seminars, I'll ask the audience, I'll say, how many people here are self-employed? And about 10 or 15% of the people will raise their hands. And I'll say, now, that was a trick question. And it's the only trick question of the evening. And I'm going to ask that question again in the light of what we're talking about right now. And then I say, now, how many people here are really self-employed? And most of the people in the audience get it. And what they get is this, is that the worst mistake you can ever make in your life is to ever think that you work for anybody else but yourself. Everybody is self-employed. You are self-employed. I am self-employed. And all peak performers in every field and industry look upon themselves as though they worked for themselves. Even if somebody else signs their paycheck, they look upon themselves as being self-employed. And they treat the company as though it belonged to them. They treat the company as though everything that happened in that company was theirs. They accept full responsibility. If a paperclip falls on the floor, they pick it up. They never say, that's not my job. When they refer to their company, they say us and our and we. This company instead of they and them and the boss and so on. Now, if you were an employer and you had to promote somebody and you had two people working for you, both of the same talents and abilities, and one person just looked upon it as a job and said, a job's a job, and I don't think about my job when I'm not at work, and came in at 9 o'clock and left at 5. And the other person treated the company like it belonged to them. They treated the company like it was part of their personal property. They came a little bit earlier, and they worked a little bit harder, and they stayed a little bit later, and they cared about the company. And you, as an employer, had to promote one of those two. Which one would you select? Which one would you give the greater opportunities to? Which one would you give the additional training and upgrading of skills to? Which one would you want to promote in your company? The one who treated the company like it belonged to them, or the one who just treated the company like it was a job? Now, if you can understand this simple principle, you will understand one of the key reasons why people move to the executive suite and move ahead rapidly in their careers and other people go nowhere. Because bosses, managers, executives are very alert to the degree of commitment that you make to your work. And wherever you see an employee, and I train many executives on this, wherever you see an employee who is not totally committed to the company and to their work, you see a problem, and you see a person that you should never allocate more responsibility to. We are all self-employed. You are the president of your own personal services corporation. You go out into the marketplace and you sell your services to the highest bidder. You're responsible for marketing your services. You're responsible for production. You're responsible for quality control of your work. You're responsible for research and development, upgrading your skills, and you're responsible for finance. Now, a very important point, because when we go to school in the first grade or kindergarten, we stay in school for 12 years, maybe we go on to university or college, but we get the impression that our education is controlled by and dictated by forces outside of ourselves, the state, the government, the school system. When we come out of school, we sometimes make the mistake of thinking that if we are to be educated further, it is up to our employer to do it. And this is one of the worst mistakes that you can make, because irrespective of whether or not your employer offers you training opportunities, you are 100% responsible for continuing to upgrade your skills, because you are working for yourself in every single case. A good question to ask yourself is this. If you were to take the stock of your personal company public, would you buy shares in you? Are you the kind of stock that is growing in value and profits every year? Are you the kind of stock that is going up in the marketplace? Would you sell stock in you to widows and orphans as a secure investment, or has your stock kind of flattened out in the marketplace? In other words, are you a growth stock, or are you a stock for a long-term hold? Because truly successful people look upon themselves as growth stocks, and they work upon themselves every day and every week and every year to make the value of what they do worth more as time passes. The winning human being accepts full responsibility for continuously upgrading his or her skills, becoming more and more valuable every year. Now, here's another area of responsibility. The winner always asks, what results are expected of me? One of the qualities of peak performers is that they are always very results-oriented. They always ask themselves, why am I on the payroll? And if you're not sure why you're on the payroll, the first thing that you have to do is go and sit down with your boss and ask him, why am I on the payroll? Now, you don't have to use these words, but here's a very simple technique. Take and write out a job description of what you think that you're on the payroll to do. Write out a list of all the things that you're supposed to accomplish and give it to your boss and have your boss organize that list in order of priority. Which is most important, which is second in importance, which is third in importance, and then always work on what is most important to your boss. Ask yourself, what can I and only I do that if done well will make a real difference to my company? If you own your own company, this question is even more important. But working for another company, this is the key to rapid advancement and promotion. And do what will make a difference. Accept responsibility for specific results and always results that will make a difference. Winners always focus on solutions. They ask, where do we go from here? What do we do from here? Now, this is a big difference between winners and losers. Winners always look to the future, and losers always look to the past. Winners always look to what can be done, and losers always look at who's to blame. Losers focus on problems. Winners focus on solutions. Winners always look to themselves when there is a problem. Losers always look to others. So if you want to achieve success within your work, always look to yourself whenever things don't go right. The rejection of responsibility leads to negative emotions. It leads to stress. It leads to denial and anger and frustration and often psychosomatic illness. The negative mind actually depresses the immune system and makes the body sick.